Good afternoon, everyone. I'm buddhika. Due to the COVID-19 travel restriction, we, Kalhari, Nethanji, and Sumudu and I have to plan to introduction to Adobe XD animation button. So, uh, first of I introduce to what is button. A button is an interactive element that enable to get the expected to interactive to feedback from the system following a particular command. Basically, a button is a control that allows a user to direct communicate with the digital product and send the necessary command to achieve a particular goal. For example, uh, it may be the task to send an email, buy a product, download some data or piece of content. Turn on the players and turn off other possible actions. One of the reasons why buttons are so popular and user-friendly is that they effective images and interactive with the object in the physical world. Modern buttons are really designed and can serve a particular purpose. Topical and frequency are used buttons which present in interactive zone. Usually clear makes out for visible and have a particular geometric shapes and often support with the copy explaining what action will be filmed by this button. There are so many buttons, so I will explain it. CTA buttons is first. I will explain it shortly. A call to action button is interactive element of the user interface that arm at and process the user to take a criteria action. Okay. Next one is a text button. Follow the website and more details about the follow the website. I explained this shortly. Text button. Here the terminology is transparency. Transparent is the button presented with the price of the text. It means that the copy isn't interactive to any shapes, filter tabs, or anything like that. Next one is a drop down button. Follow the image. Drop down buttons when you click it display a drop down list of manual exit items. You can often come across that type in the settings button. When a user chooses one of the options in the list, it usually makes an action active and explained by color. Okay. Next one is hamburger button. You can see that hamburger menu, hamburger drawn menu, back menu. It's the other side. It's a button hidden the menu. It's a simple someone called dot tree menu. It's a name is correct name is a hamburger menu. Okay, so follow this present. And this one is a pulse button. Always usually for the success or cancel this button also. You always see that. Pin the click to trip pause button enable the user to add someone new content to the button system. Okay. This one is expandable button. This one is always used for mobile apps also. These buttons are open electrical options after being the click or tap. It is one more way to set that popular for the interactive without overloading the screen with a particularly important for the mobile interface and limited screen displays. Share button is always used for Facebook and social media. Button is categorized as a share button. You know that. This one is a ghost button. Ghost button is a very attractive button. It's very popular. Ghost button is a transparent button, so looking at empty. That's why it's called empty and hello, or even an eager. It's a virtual organized recognizable as a button is a typical provide with the shapes border by quality then line around the buttons copy. Okay, this one is uh, floating action button. This one is a floating action button. Use. Ghost button is a transparent button as a looking empty. That's what always called the empty. And the person, sorry, this was used for the same one, same content, and you can show the button. Show the additional action. Oh, sorry, it's the additional action for use for transferring into other UI element and this position of the FBIC into the director of all of the okay. So I next one to explain about our members to explain to what is a creator, how to create a button and any other buttons. Thank you.
Hi, I'm going to make an animated button with a mask for the signing. First, I take rectangle tool and draw a rectangle and make the corners like this. And then remove the border of the rectangle and fill the color by using a color picker tool. Then I rename this rectangle as button. Then I go to the text tool and type sign in. Then I duplicate the text sign in and drag one of the sign in out of the rectangle and rename it as done. Then drag it here. Then take another rectangle and remove the border of it. Remove the border of the rectangle and rename it as mask. Then we are going to group this mask, done and sign in together. So what we are going to do is now select mask, done, sign in. Then using Shift Control M, we can group the mask. We can rename this as mask. Now we want to select the done and drag it here. Now at this moment the masking is done. Next, we select both mask and button and group. Right click on the mouse and you can select group. We want to rename this as button, BTN. Now when we go to the button group, next we are going to duplicate the button. Select this button, select duplicate, and we take this button out of the button folder, out of the button group. So we simply drag it here. Then you can see the no text is available here. Then we should make the reflection. So we can take another rectangle like this. And we can adjust it as we want. And I make it little bit angle and remove the border. And now I'm going to group this. Before group, I rename this rectangle as reflection. Then I drag the reflection between the two buttons. Then I group this button and reflection together. Shift Control M and rename it as mask. Then click the mask and select the reflection and drag it away from the rectangle. After that, we select mask and button here. Now you can see the only sign in text is appear here. Here I select the mask and I open the button and I drag the mask here and rename this as reflection mask. Then I click the button. Now the sign in is only available here. Now I click the button. In the right hand side you can see the component and there is a plus mark. So I click the plus mark and you can see a default state. In front of the default state you can see a plus mark also. So I click it and there is 3 options as new state, hover state, toggle state. So I select new state and I rename it as clicked. Now I select, now you can see the shape of the button has changed here. Now I select the button and select the text done and drag it over here. Next I select the sign in and I drag the sign in away from the rectangle. And here I can change the color of the rectangle if you want. So I change the color as this color. Then when we click the button, there you can see the default state and clicked. What will happen? When I click default state, you can see the sign in. Then when I click the click, it is done. Now we again select the button and then we want to choose the reflection mask. Here we select the reflection and slowly drag it here. Then we want to select the default state and let's move to the prototype. Here you can drag it here. You can see the two components are available here as default state and clicked. So I set the trigger as tap and type as auto animate, destination as clicked, easing as is in and out, duration as 0.6 seconds. Then let's preview it. So what will happen? You can see the masking is done here.
Now we are going to create this join us button. This is also a CTA button, call to action, which encourage a user to take a certain action. As you can see, when I move my mouse pointer on this one, it changes. This join us button has the hover effect on it. So let's see how to create an animation button using the hover effect. For this purpose, first I am going to take a new artboard. Let's create the button shape with a rectangle and let's curve it to make it more button shape. Then I am going to add some text as join us. I'll make it all capital and center. Okay, now I'm going to change the background color of this rectangular button to black, and this is my first view of the button. If you want, you can change the border colors. I'm going to change the border color to purple color something, and I'm going to give it some weight. So this rectangle also I'm going to rename it as join us button. So first step of the button is completed, and now I'm going to group it as easy access and rename it as join us button. For the hover effect, we need another one, same as this, size and text. So I'm going to duplicate it, select on the button and Control D. You are getting another button. So the second one I'm going to name it as join us button 2. Now we have two buttons. One is the first one, and another one. There are two buttons we have. So the second button, I'm going to change its color to different color for easy recognition. Okay, I'm going to this color and I'm going to add some text color also as white to see much better. Okay. So now we have two buttons here, and the first one should be that I'm going to overlap both of them. And for this purpose, to make a hover effect, I need a mask. So that I'm going to take another button rectangular shape by duplicating the same one. As you can see, the second button is in the back and the first button and the mask. I'm going to rename it as mask. So heavy work is done and I have to mask this one. For that purpose, I need to select all three together. I'm going to select all these buttons together and make it a mask by Ctrl Shift M. We have got a mask group as you can see in here. This is mask group 1. If you want to, you can rename it as you like. Then after using this mask, I am going to give it a component. This is the place we are going to make the effects. Select the mask group and component, there's add component. So this is the default state. I need another state as hover state. So I'm going to get a hover state also. So now there are two states of buttons. In the button we have two states. First one is default state and the second one is hover state. For the default state, when we open the website, we can see the default state as this, and in the hover state, I'm going to change the second button. I'm going to take the first button out of here and I want to see the second button like this in the default state. So this is the hover state we can see. Okay, let's go to the default state again, and next you have to go to the prototype. In the prototype, we are going to make the animations. So in the default state, join us is like this, and in the hover state, it comes like this. If you want to link this to another one, you can link it also in the hover state, but the visibility is like this. And in the default state, we need to trigger this one to a hover effect, and type is auto animate, and the destination should be to the hover state. And I'm changing ease out to ease in and out, and duration is 0.3 second is enough. If you want, you can change it as you like. Okay, all fixed. Let's see how this is going to work. I'm going to preview this one. Okay, work is done. This is join us button with hover effect.
Okay, now I am going to present about the CTA button. CTA means call to action button. Here we use this for doing some actions. For example, think about our mobile phone. There we can find on and off buttons. We create this using CTA buttons. Now you can see in this website how I have used CTA button. When clicking on good feedback, we can go to a comment page and submit or cancel it. If I cancel here, I will forward it to the home page. Let's see how to create the CTA button in new XD file. This is a new XD file, and first create a rectangle on the artboard.
Now curve the corners. Then I add colors to this rectangle. I add green color to show the on state. Then create an ellipse inside of this rectangle. Now I group this. Then I take a copy of this artboard. This is my new artboard. Now I select the rectangle and change the color of it to show the off state. So I select ash color here and change the side of the ellipse. Now OK. So let's add interactions. Go to prototype tab. Now click on this ellipse. Then you can see an arrow here. Draw it to connect the other artboard. Likewise, do the same thing to the first button. Now OK, we can play this. If I click here, the button goes to off state, and if I click here, the button goes to on state. Thank you.